We're doing a bit of a different video today. I am going to spin this wheel right here. Not what's currently here, but we're going to spin a wheel. We're going to spin from a decade, and then we're going to spin down to, the year, position, and we're gonna find a random player to talk about today. Consider this a little bit of a foray into recent or distant Denver Broncos history. Now, for the sake of having something to talk about with a lot of these guys, we're going to be reserving this to starters only, because God knows there's a number of backups. Maybe we'll do a backups episode one of these days. Maybe we'll do a backups episode, but for now, we're gonna keep it a starter. So let me get the wheel ready real quick for this first spin, and we'll see what we get. All right, so let's start with the decade. As obviously kind of goes with the Broncos, we've got all the decades that they've existed: the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, aughts, 10s, and 2020s. So we're gonna give this thing a spin, and whatever decade it lands on, we are going to be talking about a player from that decade, and of course we'll narrow it down further to like the season, what have you. So let's see what decade we're going to get Broncos country. From what decade will we be talking about a player? Ooh, the 1990s. All right. This could be a number of people right here. Early 90s, I think you still had guys on the team. I think Vance Johnson still might have been there. Steve Atwater comes in at some point. There's a lot to go with here, and this is gonna be fun. So now that we got the 90s, I'm gonna narrow this down to what specific season, and then we'll keep going. All right, we got the years all splayed out right here: 90, 91, 92, 93, and all the way around the board. Here we go, spinner wheel, give me something to work with here. And I'm really interested to see where this goes. 95 by a hair. Man, look how close that is. I thought we were going to get somebody from that ill-fated 96 season, but all right, let's narrow this down even further. Are we talking about an offensive player or a defensive player here? This is fun. This is fun. All right, now let's narrow this down. What guy from that what side of the ball from 95 are we going to get? And it looks like we're going to be talking about a defender. Okay, let me know if this is a little more generalized, because we might have to do an extra spin to see who we might get here. But I've got DN, D tackle, right outside, middle, left outside, corner, strong safety, and free safety. I think we spin this and we see what it gives us, and if I got a spin to narrow this down somewhere, then we will. And we might be spinning again because we've just got defensive end. And of course, we're likely going to have two starting defensive ends. So, yeah. Okay, so it turns out there was a right and a wrong answer for this. So we are going to spin this to see what side defensive end we get. And it looks like it was looking to be a little more convincing, but it did narrow up. We will be talking about the Denver Broncos starting left defensive end from the year 1995, to quote the great Harry Enton of CNN. So here we go. Who could this possibly be? Hey, before we get into the rest of the video, if you're excited to see what I got for you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. And listen, this is big. We are 60 subs away from monetization on this thing, baby, which is, I never thought we'd get close to that. When I started this, I never thought we'd touch anywhere close to that. But thanks to you guys, we have hit the 3,000 watch time hours goal, and now all I need is your help to get to 500 subs. My God, man, this means so goddamn much to me. So again, if you want to help me out, like and sub, all that good stuff. And now Let's talk about the guy that we rolled on the wheel, shall we? The subject of today's episode is a man that played a grand total of 4 plays in college during his 5th-year senior year for the University of Washington, told the Philadelphia Eagles not to draft him because he had already been picked by Calgary in the CFL draft. He played the first few years of his professional football career with those Calgary Stampeders, was a CFL All-Star in that time, won a Grey Cup in that time, and slotted right over into the National Football League and became a starting defensive end for our beloved Denver Broncos. Unfortunately, Harald Hasselbach, the subject of our episode, was taken from us in November of 2023 due to cancer. So, I think it's a really fun opportunity today to reflect on his career, talk about his time with the Denver Broncos, and maybe, jog your memory a little bit of a guy that played a role in some of the best years in Denver Broncos history. On the 22nd of September 1967, the only Dutch-born player that would go on to win a Super Bowl was born. Harald Hasselbach was born in the Netherlands, Amsterdam to be specific. Of course, Amsterdam, known for the party scene, also known for being a very, very artistic culture. Of course, I've never been to Amsterdam. I can't tell you a whole lot about it. I could go research it a little more, but I got a video to make. And the man of the hour, Mr. Harald Hasselbach, was born there. Now, he spent a lot of his early life bouncing around continents, grew up in Indonesia, Kenya, and then ended up in Canada, specifically in British Columbia, played a lot of rugby, and really only had 1 year of football to go off of before he was recruited to the University of Washington. Now, he backed up a couple of guys there, Dennis Brown, who would go on to be a solid rotational defensive lineman, kind of in the same sphere as Harald Hasselbach, and Steve Entman, one of the all-time greatest NFL draft busts. First overall pick of the 1992 NFL draft, and he put up a grand total of 8 sacks in his career, played for 3 different teams, and was out of the league by 1997. Yeah, I think Harald Hasselbach had a little bit of a better career than the guy he was stuck behind in Washington. Like I said, he only played 4 plays in his career at the University of Washington, goes on to Calgary, where he has a pretty successful career. Again, he ends up as an All-Star in 1993, was a Grey Cup champion in 1992, the year prior, and then ends up going to the NFL, where he ends up as a Denver Bronco. And I gotta say, guy tallied some pretty solid numbers for the orange and blue. We look at his all-time career numbers: 29 starts, 112 games played, 17 and a half sacks for his career as well, with a career high of 4 in 1995, the year that we rolled on the wheel. And then just career tackles, 154 combined, 119 in the solo category, 7 tackles for loss in his career as well. No safeties. Had a couple of fumble recoveries in his career, though. Had 4 career forced fumbles as well. And man, this guy, I mean, just what a story, man. Harald Hasselbach, it's an insane story. And this video will end up being short just because there isn't a ton to go off of. But I think it's important just to talk about guys like this, for guys that were just solid contributors for years for teams that won Super Bowls and just routinely competed. Now, the 95 Broncos weren't actually that great. That was kind of a weird lull year that the 90s Broncos would just kind of randomly have every now and again. They went 8-8 that year. The defense wasn't that great. I think it was 17th out of 30th, if I remember what I Googled, or what I pulled up on Pro Football Reference, excuse me. But man, he would go on to hit the highest of highs with the Broncos back-to-back, and it's just, shit like this is cool, man. Now, after his retirement, he did end up giving back to football instead of just shying away from it. He was a defensive line coach at local high schools in Denver, again, after his retirement. And then in 2016, Mr. Hasselbach was inducted into the British Columbia Football Hall of Fame. Now, at the time of his death, he was a defensive line coach at the Regis Jesuit High School. I may have butchered the pronunciation, and I completely apologize for that. But at the time of his death, he was a defensive line coach there, which really shows that even in his worst times, even as his life was dwindling down, he was still giving his life to the game that we all know and love. And if you are watching this and you're someone fighting with cancer, first of all, I'm sorry, but also, listen, us humans can do so much cool shit, and if you are watching this, I absolutely know that you can beat whatever it is you're going through. I know I'm just some guy on the internet saying this, but I hope that I can be a word of motivation for you. You got a lot of people in your corner that love you, and if I can help support you as well, man, whoever you are, I hope this gives you a little bit of motivation, man. Cancer sucks, man. Cancer sucks. Man, you know, Harald Hasselbach was taken from us too soon because of cancer, and he will forever be a guy that will be remembered both in the British Columbia Football Hall of Fame and by the Denver Broncos faithful. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this short little episode today. Nothing too long. I did just want to kind of get something up here, but I just wanted to make a cool little video. And again, hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you did. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Hopefully there's some more news that comes out soon, because it's been a bit of a slow cycle, and I don't know how many times we can all talk about Bo Nix's ankle without sounding like a bunch of foot fetish people. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.